Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this presentation on the SURE program proposal that was introduced by the European Commission on the 2nd of April, amongst other measures to deal with the economic fallout of the COVID-19 crisis. What I'll try to do is first present what SURE is about, then secondly have a look at the financial implications of SURE, how is it supposed to be funded, and then thirdly, how is SURE supposed to work? SURE stands for Support to Mitigate Unemployment Risks in an Emergency. So it's a new instrument, it's a temporary instrument, so only applicable for the duration of the COVID-19 crisis. And it is financial assistance offered by the EU to member states specifically to support their short-time work schemes for employees and self-employed. So what are these short-term work schemes? Well, typically it is allowing employers to put employees in temporary unemployment schemes or receiving support for the salaries of these employees. Similarly, for the self-employed, full, partial income replacement. So these are also useful instruments for employers because they do not need to lay off their workers. They can keep them on the payroll whilst not having to cover the full labor cost and payroll cost of keeping the employees employed. The instrument that the Commission proposes to use to offer this financial assistance is by means of loans to the member states who have set in place such schemes. Of course, the cost of these schemes is very likely to balloon during the crisis, so the Commission foresees additional support, and the total volume of loans that it intends to disburse is 100 billion euro. Let's have a look at the legal basis that the Commission used to introduce this proposal, and that is actually Article 122 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. The Commission bases its proposal here on both paragraph 1 as well as paragraph 2. In paragraph 1 there is the statement that measures can be adopted appropriate to the economic situation, and one invokes the spirit of solidarity between member states. This is relevant here, this solidarity between member states, because the Commission is actually asking the member states to voluntarily guarantee the loans that it intends to hand out. So based on this solidarity. Paragraph 2 mentions exceptional occurrences, circumstances, disasters, and then the possibility to provide financial assistance to a member state or member states. So this is then invoked by the Commission to set up financial assistance by means of loans. The Commission actually says we used paragraph 2 already in the past, in particular in 2010, when we set up the European Financial Stabilization Mechanism. This was a mechanism set up to deal with another crisis, the financial economic crisis of that time, during which certain EU member states were facing difficulties in raising finances, capital from the markets to service their debt. So there too, the Commission has provided loans, cheap loans to member states to service their public debt. Since this EFSM was used as a source of inspiration, partially similar system than the one applied for SURE, it's maybe useful to have a look at these financial assistance schemes like EFSM that work with loans. There are actually three systems of loans, EU loans handed out by the EU, guaranteed by the EU budget. We have macro financial assistance. This is for non-EU countries participating in an IMF program. We have currently guaranteed up to 4.7 billion of outstanding loans. This is to countries like Tunisia, Jordan, Ukraine, Georgia. These were all relatively recent beneficiaries of such loans guaranteed by the EU budget. Then we have the balance of payments facility or assistance. That's 50 billion maximum for non-euro area member states. And so far we have at this juncture only 200 million outstanding, and that is a past Latvian loan. The European Financial Stabilization Mechanism, which I mentioned before, set up in 2010, has a ceiling of 60 billion to be guaranteed by the EU budget for EU member states having difficulties in servicing their public debt. There we have, or the Union has disbursed something close to 47 billion euros to two member states, namely Portugal and Ireland. So in that financial stabilization mechanism, there is in principle 13.2 billion still available, but no additional loans are handed out under this EFSM system. Such loans are now covered by the European Stability Mechanism, another mechanism.